So today we're going to be working on our kettlebell deadlift. Now this is one of the movements that I really want to take a little more time in breaking down, because I would say this is one of the most important foundational movements that are going to carry on into a whole bunch of other movements as well. And this basically plays off of a simple hip hinge, which I'll go over in a second here. So the deadlift works a lot of the muscles, not only throughout the entire body, but focusing on the posterior chain, which is just a fancy way of saying the muscles on the back side of our legs. So our hamstrings, our glutes, calves, all that good stuff around there. And again, this movement is based off of the hip hinge, which is just as it sounds. Imagine like a door hinge. That's not how a door works, but how a door hinge opens and closes. You're doing that same hinging motion from the hips here. Okay, so we're pushing the hips back and then driving them forward. As we drive them forward, we're gonna feel a little engagement here in the hamstrings, get a squeeze in the glutes there. The squeeze in the glutes is gonna help you straighten your body out just like we want to at the end of a deadlift. Now, a couple of things about the hip hinge and the deadlift overall. Usually, from what I've seen, this is usually a hit or miss for most people. So one tactic that I do recommend, and I kind of preface this every time I have someone try this, but if you're struggling with this movement like a lot, like you're gonna try 10, 12, 15 times, it's just not making sense in your head. Watch this video, watch me go through this movement, close your eyes, and run through it in your head. Give yourself 2 or 3 minutes, just keep running through reps in your head. You're not actually gonna be moving. I literally want you to close your eyes and pretend your body's going through the motion of hitting deadlifts. And again, I did warn you, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but 9 out of 10 times, this has made significant improvements just like that. So if you're struggling with this, give it a shot. Same thing with any other exercise, you could try that out. However, for this, I've noticed a particularly significant improvement with that little tactic there. So with that being said, let's jump on over into the deadlift. Enough talking. So we're gonna grab onto a kettlebell for this. I'm gonna demonstrate this from the side. Now we're gonna open up our feet just about shoulders width apart, slightly rotated feet. Now, when it comes to feet rotation, I always tell people to try to play around, see what's the most comfortable for you. I like to base it off, okay, we're gonna start at shoulders width, sometimes a little wider, rotating our feet outwards slightly. However, if you're in this position and it doesn't feel the greatest, first of all, send me a message, let me know, but also try opening it up a little more, right? That might give you a little more room for your knees, because everyone's bodies are proportionally different by some length. So the form always varies slightly there. So shoulders length, toes rotated outwards. How we're gonna start this out is we're gonna push the hips here back. And this is the hip hinge that that many people do have a little trouble from. At this first phase of the movement, as we push the hips back here, we're gonna limit the movement in the knees here. The knees are allowed to bend, no problem. However, we're gonna avoid allowing them to come forward. You're gonna notice here, if we push the hips back and we let the knees come forward, what's gonna happen? We start hinging from the knees, therefore going down into a squat. We're not trying to go for a squat here, we're trying to hinge from the hips, push it back. I always tell people, imagine there's a wall behind you, you're trying to push your hips back to hit the wall, okay? Push the hips back, keep the upper body nice and straight, neutral back in the spine right here, push back, grab onto the weight, firm grip, and drive, okay? When we drive, again, we're gonna get a pull in the hamstrings here, squeeze in the glutes. Now with lighter weights like this, we're gonna get a little snapping motion in the hips, like you probably see here. So watch, and snap, and snap. Another note, for the upper body, while we're doing this, we're gonna keep nice and engaged in the core, right? Firm grip on the kettlebell or the barbell. However, we're not gonna pull with the upper body, right? If you're coming up and your arms are going like this, yeah, that's not gonna work out, especially when we get to heavier weights. So, arms just sitting right in front of you, nice and relaxed here, firm grip, but relaxed, okay? So a couple more reps here. I want your main focus here to be focusing on getting that engagement from the hamstrings, from the glutes. And then if you can feel that through every single rep, you're probably good. Now, if you're feeling a lot of tension down here in your lower back, it means you're not hinging from your hips enough. And instead, you're using your back to pull the weight up, okay? Another note on that, after we started to work on this motion, you feel pretty comfortable. We're engaging the hamstrings, engaging the glutes. We're gonna watch this little shift in the knees. That's gonna help us out, mainly when we switch over to a barbell, but still something I want you to pay attention to with the kettlebell as well. As we drop down, so we're at the top of the motion. As we're dropping down, pushing hips back. Once the hands start crossing this line of depth where your knees are, the knees are allowed to now shift forward. Now, this isn't going to make as big of a difference with the kettlebell. However, with a barbell, that is going to be a lot bigger deal. But anyways, we are going to practice that. So drive up as we hit the knees, then we can shift downwards a little. At this position, we're starting to shift into a squat, okay? So you're going to hear a difference between a traditional deadlift or a conventional deadlift and a Romanian deadlift. The biggest difference really is just a shift in the knees there. For now, you don't have to worry so much about those two differences there. Just know that at the bottom of the motion, we're going to get a little shift forward in the knees, so that once we're in this position, we're going to start off by driving through the heels, pushing through the heels, engaging the quads right here, shooting upwards. And as we shoot upwards, that movement is going to shift from the quads into the hamstrings and finally into the glutes to straighten the body out there. So a couple last reps just to show you how it should look like. Whew. And that is our kettlebell deadlift. Thanks for watching.